What's up everyone, Tim from Everyday Tactical Vids here, and today we're taking a look at this product from Estwing. This is their 16-inch camper's axe. And as we start here, I do want to note that from top to bottom, you can see that it's really closer to 18 inches from the top of the blade there all the way to the bottom of the handle. So just keep that in mind as far as if you're looking for something that's 16 inches long, that's a camping axe, and that's the only thing that's going to fit in your backpack or whatever it might be, just know that this is from top to bottom 18 inches. So cool product. It's going to run you between $30 and $40, maybe a little bit more depending on where you purchase it. It is one piece of forged steel for the head and the handle. It's a double tempered head for added strength, and it's got a 4-inch cutting edge. And we'll talk about some of the different features on it and then take it out into the field to use it. And one other thing I want to mention here that they do include is this right here. And it's actually quite a nice sheath. I did see one guy note that he didn't like the fact that it says sheath made in Taiwan on the back. But other than that, it is quite a nice sheath. And I'll show you how this goes on in a second. Got these two snaps, this cool design here. And then you can run a smaller belt through this if you want to actually attach it to your belt and wear it while you're walking, camping, hiking, whatever it might be. Here's a real quick look at the sheath when it's actually on. And you can just see pop off the two snaps, and then you're going to remove the axe like so. Some of the features that Estwing accentuates about this product. The first one here is their reduction grip, and they say that this reduces shock up to 70%, and in the description they say it will not come off. So you can see, obviously this is blue, got a lanyard hole there. And I have had this out in the field, that's why it's a little bit beat up. But they basically say that this product will not come off. Just to show you the bottom here. Not too exciting, but it is some information there. And this is a product made in the USA. So it does make a difference if you're going to be using an axe, hatchet, whatever it is out in the woods for a long time, for an extended amount of time. It's going to tire your hand out. And that additional shock factor can tire your hand out even more quickly. So if this is going to reduce shock by 70%, definitely something to consider. Looking at the blade here, you can see 7 inches from the blade all the way to the back of the head of the axe there. And then when it comes to the length of the actual blade, 4 inches. The pommel is certainly usable for hammering or breaking tasks, and size-wise, we're looking at about 1.5 inches from top to bottom and 1 inch across. Something I did want to mention is the shape of the blade. Just take a look at it from the top here, and you can see thin, 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 and then actually starts to widen here. Compare that to a couple different axes. I've got just a basic axe that could be, it's by Rock Force, and I picked this up at Home Depot, and it's like a utility axe. You can use it for camping, a variety of other things. But when you put the tips of the blade, look how much more quickly the Rock Force axe gets thick, or wider I should say, as opposed to the Estwing axe. So you can see there, as you go through the wood, it's going to be pushing the wood further apart more quickly with this axe. And I'll give you another example here. This is the Gerber backpacks, and while this is a small axe, you can see that similarly it does split the wood, or will split the wood more widely, more quickly. While this is a very small axe, a lot of their axes, both the Gerbers and the Fiskars, since the Fiskars is the mother company for Gerber, they're built with this similar style blade. So they will be thin and then quickly get wide, so that when you're actually splitting wood, it will break it apart more quickly. So just something to keep in mind. So that's about all when it comes to the in-studio review. Let's get out and test it in the field. Our first infield test will be chopping this tree, and we'll give you a sense of how the axe actually works. As you can see, that went about 1/4 of the way through the tree. The tree is slightly rotted as you go up further, so this is going to be a little bit easier to cut than either a live tree or a tree that's recently dead and not rotted at all. But the axe did do a good job and went through it quite quickly without a lot of work. I wasn't swinging very hard in the process, so you know, take that for what it's worth. I would say in the first test, this definitely did its job. Our next test will be just to see how it works doing some finer work. So if I wanted to get some shavings off a piece of dead wood, this is pine that is pretty dried out, and we'll see how this works doing some of that more detail work. Here's the result. So as you can see, this axe can do some of that finer work. You're certainly not going to get the same results as you would if you're using a very fine edged knife, but clearly with this axe you can do some of that finer work. Now we'll move on to do some actual chopping of wood. So here are my conclusions from the chopping test. You see basically three different things here. You see two logs in the back and then this pile in the front. The pile in the front in general, the diameter of those pieces of wood was about 3 to 3.5 inches or so. It went through those pieces of wood quite easily, no major issues. Every once in a while you hit a knot, so you have to hit it twice, but in general, no major problems. In the back you can see the log that the axe is actually wedged into is about 4.5 to 5 inches across, and then you have a log that basically has if it were on a tree, there would be a fork in the tree, so it's got two sections, and both of those one's about 3 inches and the other one's about 4 inches across, and it just wouldn't go through those. So I worked on those a bunch of times. I try to actually on a very hard surface as opposed to just hammering a log or chopping a log on top of another log, and in none of those situations could I get through them. So at this point it looks like for some of the smaller wood it goes through quite easily, but some of those larger pieces of wood I really wailed on them and did my best to hit them accurately and with a lot of force, focusing on following through whatever it might be, and it just wouldn't get through those. As we wrap up here, let me offer some thoughts. First, Estwing makes high quality products. They're based in the USA. They're going to stand behind their products. So if you do have an issue with it, contact them and they will work with you. And I do like on this particular version the shock reduction handle, 70% less of that shock, and the fact that they guarantee it's not going to come off. It's just going to make long-term use of this product easier. If I were to do it over again, I would actually buy this version of that same axe. It's in black. It's a little bit more expensive, but very cool looking. So same product, but just I think a different look, which I like that look a little bit more. And if I were to do it totally over, I would actually buy this one instead. And I'll just put it down here side by side so you can see. 13 inches, 18 inches, 1.6 pounds, 2.9 pounds. And let me just take this one out of the way and show you this. And this, as you can see here, is the Sportsman's axe. I just feel like for your what you're going to gain in the length and weight of this one versus what you're going to actually get or save in the length and weight when you're actually carrying the smaller one, I would do this. I would get this one instead. Price is almost the same. It's going to be in the $30 to $40 range. Both of them do a good job, but I think overall I would go with something smaller because I don't think for the extra weight and size you're getting a whole lot more out of the larger one. That's my take. As always, appreciate your thoughts and your comments, so go ahead and start that down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids here on YouTube. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Tumblr. Take care.